everyone, my name is Julia and today I will be talking about, wait a second, I'm on the wrong topic. How do our brain process speech? But I will be answering some questions about this topic as well. But first, when we want to answer those questions, we need to understand what the hell that thing is. So to begin with, here's a little bit. Uh, an average 20 years old that is not a multilingual or a bilingual knows between 27,000 and 50,000 different words, and by age 60 that number averages between 35,000 and 56,000 different words. Spoken out loud, most of these words less than a second, just like me. I'm speaking to you. Do you remember what I just said? So, with every word, the brain has a quick decision to make. So, what or like what? Which of those thousands of options matches the signal? And 98% of the time, like almost 99% of the time, the brain chooses the word formation correctly to form the correct sentence. But how? There's something you need to understand. Speech comprehension is different from reading comprehension. I don't know why, but to me, they're literally the same. Like, you're just comprehending something, you're just processing information through your senses, just different senses. But, however, speech comprehension is similar to sign language comprehension, but it is more research than the sign language comprehension. Why? Because there aren't many deaf people around here, not that much. So yeah. But the thing about this thing is that, like, reading comprehension is you just be like this. You're reading with your eyes, but when you do sign language, then you're seeing it with your eyes. You're not listening, you're not speaking, you're not smelling that information. But sign language comprehension is similar to speech comprehension, but sign language comprehension is also like the same as reading comprehension. So that means that reading comprehension must be the same as speech comprehension, right? Somebody please answer me about this. I have no idea. So the key to our ability to understand speech is the brain's role as a parallel processor. So just imagine this. I'm dancing and I'm speaking to you. So the brain is controlling multiple muscles at a time. It's controlling my arm, my mouth, like I'm speaking to you, and I'm seeing you. Like I'm staring at you, nobody more. So it meaning that it can do multiple different things. So parallel means the multiple different things at the same time. Most theorists assume that each word we know is represented by a separate processing unit that had just one job, is to assess the likelihood of incoming speech matching that particular word. So, in the context of the brain, the processing unit that represents the word is just likely a pattern of firing activity across a group of neurons in the brain's cortex. And when we hear the beginning of the word, we begin registering that there are many possible matches. And there are several thousand units that become active. Like, for example, the word be. Like, the word be is so become, because. So, yeah. When I'm speaking, there are tiny explosions of meaning in your mind. So, for example, the word capture. cap. It's just a cap that we put on our head, or it's just a cap of the bottle. Open the cap of the bottle for me. And the word captain, capture, capital. Capital has many different meanings. And the word capybara. Yeah. And then as the word goes on, more and more units know that some vital piece of information is just missing, and then they died. They lose activity. So possibly well before the end of the word, just one more. More firing pattern remains active, corresponding to one word, and this is where we call the recognition point. And in the process of honing in just one word, the active units suppresses the activity of others, saving vital milliseconds. Like vital millisecond, 1 millisecond. Our brain is so fast you can't even know. So most people can comprehend about 8 words per syllable. Can you comprehend that? Yeah. The goal is not only to recognize the word, but also to access the stored meaning. Like I said, the word capital have many different meanings. Capital is the capital of a country, or the capital of the country. Capital, like, it has many different meanings. Yeah. And we know this from studies which show that even upon hearing a word fragment, like the word cap, like I said before, listeners will start to register multiple possible meanings, like captain or capital, before the full word emerges. And this suggests that every time we hear a word, there's a brief explosion of meanings in our minds, and by the recognition point, the brain has settled on one interpretation of the word said. The recognition process moves more rapidly with a sentence that gives up contents than in a random string of words. For example, blah 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 blah. Like bags or crane, or in cases of homophones, like no or no. No or no. For multilingual people, the language that they are listening to is another cue. It is used to eliminate potential words that don't match their language contents. And because of languages, they have different pronunciations. So yeah, we can actually register the word in different language rather than mistaking it with another word, unless that there are cognitives. Oh well, I'm going to make a video about cognitives next. So what about adding completely new words to this system? It's meaning that we learn new vocabulary. And even as adults, we may come across a new word every few days. But if every word is represented as a fine-tuned pattern of activity distributed over by many neurons, how do we prevent new words from overriding old ones? We think that to avoid this problem, new words are initially stored in a part of the brain called the hippocampus, which is kind of like the center of the brain here. And it comes from the cortex, the neocortex. I don't know, but the cortex is like out, like the brain region from here to here. So yeah, it just transferred to the hippocampus. And then over multiple nights of sleep, the new word gradually transfers over and interweave with old ones, meaning that it was stored in the cortex slowly over multiple nights of sleep. And this gradual process helps avoid disrupting existing word. So in the daytime, the unconscious activity generates explosions of meaning, as we chat about mini explosions to be exact. And at night we rest, but our brains are busy integrating new knowledge into our word networks. When we wake up, The process ensures that we're ready for the ever-changing world of languages. So here's another fun fact about learning vocabulary. Every time you wake up, you repeat that vocabulary word for like 1 or 2 times. That's how I learn new vocabulary words like succinct, ambiguous, or supercalifragilistic, meaning that it was something really good and exciting. So yeah, I think that's it. But wait, I haven't even answered all the question. So when we recognize speech, what is the advantage of having processing units that are dedicated to the recognition of just one word? So this prevents like misperception of the word. You don't know how to interpret. Like there is one processing unit that have 5 that is in charge of recognizing 5 different words, and your brain just kind of mess up because it's tangled, it's hard, it's not easy, it's not simple. So yeah, the brain just kind of. So I think that because this lowers the chance of us getting the correct word each time that we speak. So would recognition of written words operate in the same way as for spoken words? No. As I said before, I don't know why speech comprehension is different from reading comprehension. I still don't know why. So yeah, how does sleep help us to learn new words? Because when we sleep, there's what is it again? There's an acquisition process that helps us transfer new words that is currently stored in the neocortex to the hippocampus and vice versa. So yeah, it's really complicated, and I'm no neurosurgeon, so bye.